Hi, and welcome to this section of the Basic Math Word Problem Tutor. In this section, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to have word problems. We're going to have problems that involve adding fractions, word problems that involve adding fractions. And I'm really excited about teaching the next few sections of the class dealing with adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing fractions, because to be honest with you, fractions give a lot of people problems, okay? And I have a lot of examples in this section on purpose to reinforce things. Fractions give a lot of people problems, and I think the reason is because growing up you deal with numbers all the time. You deal with 1 and 2 and 10 and 20 and 15. Those are numbers. Those are things we understand. But then when you start putting numbers on top of other numbers with a bar, making a fraction, and they're different numbers, and sometimes you have to find this thing called a common denominator, and sometimes you don't, and what does it mean to have 52 over 75? What does that mean, okay? There's a lot of questions that aren't really natural to us because, we don't see 3/8 of a piece of wood all the time on the ground. We see one piece of wood or two pieces of wood. We don't see 5/8 or 10/64, okay? So it's sometimes confusing. But we're going to cut through all of that here, and we're going to tackle the word problems that deal with adding fractions together in this section, and we're going to get a lot of practice with adding them together in the common denominator and all of that. So without talking any further, let's just go ahead and get started. The first problem says, and this is real practical because Thanksgiving we all like to eat our pie, right? You have 1/4 or 1/4 of a pie, and someone gives you 3/4 of another pie, okay? How much pie do you have, okay, altogether? So I have 1/4 of a pie, and I have 3/4 of a pie that somebody else gives me. The question is, how much pie do you have, okay? So let's think about this for a second. We know that one person gives us 1/4 of a pie, or 1/4 of a pie is another way of saying that, and we're adding to it 3/4 of a pie. So just as before in the course, we know that we have to add these things together because one person gives us 1/4 of a pie, another person gives us 3/4 of a pie, and we're trying to find out how much do we have all together. So we know we have to add them together. The question is, how do you do that? These numbers look kind of weird at first, having a 3 and a 4 and the 1 and the 4 with the line. I mean, what does that mean, okay? Well, I like to work in pictures, so let's do that. What does 1/4 mean, okay? If you have a pie, okay, all this means is very, very simple. All this means is if you cut this pie into 4 pieces, that's what the bottom number means. How many pieces of this pie did I cut, okay? Cut the pie into. Then what I have is, I don't have a whole pie or a half a pie, I have 1/4 of a pie. So that means I have this much of a pie. Because I cut the pie into 4 pieces, which is what this number means, 4 pieces, but I only actually have one of those pieces, so that's what the top number means, okay? And I'm adding to it some more pie. What does this number look like, okay? Again, I'm cutting the pie into 4 pieces because that's the bottom number, but I don't just have one piece of the pie over here, I have 3 more pieces. So I have this piece, that's one piece, I have this piece here, and I have this piece here. So I have 3 pieces over here. So I think you can see by pictures, okay, that if I have 1/4 of a pie and I add it to 3/4 of a pie, I'm going to have 1 pie total, okay? Because just in pictures, without any math at all, when you do this, then this piece, I could just take this one piece of pie and stick it right in here, and then I'm going to have a whole pie. So I would have this, and I would have this piece, and I would have this piece here, and I would have this piece here. I would have 4 pieces